Hi everyone, and welcome to
Hello.
today's webinar, Optimize Your Marketplace Search Experience and Convert More. And I want to start today's webinar by launching a poll. So I'll try to get that up for you guys now. I hope you all can see it. So please send in your answers to the question, how many % of sessions are using search on your site? And while you guys go ahead and do that, I would like to encourage you all to send in any questions you might have during the webinar, and you do that on the right-hand side in the control panel. We will try to pick those questions up during the webinar, but if not, we will have the Q&A session in the end where we will answer all of your questions. And after the webinar, me and Michelle has actually worked together on this checklist, kind of like a step-by-step guide on how you can improve your site search experience to optimize for conversions. So that you will receive in an email after the webinar from Michelle and his team at Luigi's Box. But that's it. Let's jump into introductions. Let me close the poll first. So get those final answers in now. I'm closing 3, 2, 1. There we go. I will reveal the answers for you guys a little bit later in today's webinar as well. But Michal.
Yes, so hello everyone. My name is Michal Barla. I'm a software engineer with a passion for computer science. I got my PhD from a technical university in Bratislava. It's been already a couple years ago, and my research was focused on web personalization, modeling of user interest and recommender systems and stuff like that. And after my studies, I wanted to bring some of my ideas into practice and to test them out in the wild. So with my friends, I've co-founded Luigi's Box, a company which aims to bring a seamless product discovery experience for every shopper on the web. So basically, we would like to change the way how people are looking for products while shopping online. And that's it. That's our mission. We're Luigi's Box, and I'm very happy to be invited by Emil to be a part of this webinar.
Yeah, we're very happy to have you, Michal, and Luigi's Box to participate. And my name is Emil Andersson, and I am the marketing manager at Bezedo. And I hope most of you already know what we do. We work with content moderation through combining the technical side of moderation with manual moderation. So AI and human working together. And we've been doing this since 2002. So it's close to 18 years now for the company. So next year, 18 years experience. It's exciting to be in this industry for that long. So I'll hand over to you, Michelle, for the first slides.
Thank you. So, well, the beginning will be about motivation. I would like all of you to realize the importance of site search for conversions. Here are the data averaged from our analysis, our data, and it shows a quite known phenomenon that even if sessions with search are in minority and search is not that used, those sessions with search, they totally drive the conversions, and the majority of conversions are coming from the site search or sessions where search was used. Why is this so? We all know that turning a visitor into a customer, a paying customer, to do that, you need like several touch points, several points of interaction with that visitor. And visitor or potential customer is in different states of mind in each visit. At the beginning, she or he is just considering the choices, looking on the prices, and then maybe the last or the one before touch points, they are maybe really considering the purchase. And people who know what they are looking for because they've spent several days or weeks or hours by thinking about the product. They know what they are looking for. They just want to find it and to buy it. And this is where a good site search comes into play. If you have a good search engine which will bring the products, relevant products to the front, you will likely get the conversion event from those. And can you move on, please, Emil? The next slide. I cannot stress more the word good. Good search. You need to have a good search engine. Our data show that clients who care about their search, they can boost their conversion rate from search more than 30%. On the left, you can see like something like a baseline, which shows that on average, from like more than 200 of our clients, on average, you can have 12.8% of conversion rate from search. But if you really start caring about your search, if you put into practice some theoretical points which we are going to discuss in this webinar, your conversion rate can go higher. In our case, it was like from 12.8 to 16.8, which is more than 30% of growth. So it really does make sense to start caring about your search. And I think that all you who decided to attend this webinar, you already made the first step. You're here, you are listening to this webinar or watching us, and I hope that you will see your conversions go higher as well. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Michal. So I kind of feel like now you set the basis for the opportunity that is here. Like if you improve your search, you can improve your conversion, which is of course a really important metric in your growth and performance as a marketplace. So I kind of feel that it's a little bit good cop, bad cop kind of thing here, because now I'm going to look into how user search experience is directly correlated with conversion rates. And first of all, I just want to start by looking at user experience traits. How, what do we users do? And our attention spans as humans today are incredibly short. So we need to capture the right attention from the get-go. And according to Nielsen Norman Group, users will abandon your site within 10 seconds if they don't find what they're looking for. And to back this data, I also want to share this research done by Microsoft. I think they use something called Weibull theory, the Weibull theory. And what this research showed is that basically within the first 5 seconds, if someone who visits your site doesn't find what they're looking for or doesn't find any interest in your site, they are likely to bounce. So that gap, 5-10 seconds, is so important for you to have the first impression, because that's when the benefits come. Because when you get over that hump, this research showed that users will stay longer on your site, and that's what you would need if they even should consider searching in many scenarios and eventually converting. So when we know this, what can you do to make sure that your users stay on your site and hopefully converts? So what you have in front of you guys now is a list of the top 5 refusal reasons that we take for our clients. And that is basically these 5 content or types of content is what is most commonly refused by us. So most commonly bad content, one could say. And if you look at these 5, there's only maybe number 3 that doesn't directly impact search experiences and would clog up a user's search results. If you have a lot of spam on your site, if you have wrong category, if you have duplicate content, if you have even professional equipment sold as private, that will clog up the search results for your users, and they won't find what they're looking for, or it won't be a good experience for them, which then of course hampers the conversions and raises your bounce rates. And if this isn't enough to prove that that irrelevant content and relevancy of content really matters when it comes to search. We also conducted user search experience study, a qualitative study. I think it's 2 years ago now, so we can probably, it's about time to do a new one, I guess. But what we found from that study was that every single person who participated found irrelevant items when they searched on online marketplaces. I'll let that sink in for a moment. Every single one found irrelevant content or irrelevant products when searching. And really, no wonder, because we also conducted a mystery shopping experience or study. And what we found is when we searched for iPhone 7 ads, 4% of the results were actually not an iPhone. It was something else. It was repair or screens or whatever. And when you search for an iPhone, you want to find the phone. And that number jumped up all the way to 15% for Gucci bags instead. And that is excluding scam, counterfeits, and fake products. So this is just purely not even what someone searched. So I want to share a little bit of sort of an overview of what some of the participants in this study actually said. I want to dial down on the middle one here, which is, I hated site 1, it's just crap. Sorry about my language. You search for a phone and get 400 ads about screen repair. They need more filters. And this touches on what I said, and also shows that users knows what you guys can do to improve their search experience. So if they search for a phone, they want to find the phone. They don't want to find repairs for the phone. But if they search for repairs, they want to find repairs and not phones in the results. So here we're going to talk about this a little bit later on how you guys can actually make sure to match the right product or right service offering with the search query. But this to me shows that users are actually aware of what you guys can do as well. So now when we know this, irrelevant content or invalid search results is bringing down the user experience. But how about when results actually match the user search query so that they actually get to see the product that they're looking for? Well, quality is still important, and in this mystery shopping that we did, we actually found that incredible 43.19% of all first page search results for Gucci bags were counterfeits. And this means that best case scenario, your users are actually somehow navigating through this luxury item minefield on your site and not losing trust in your marketplace. And in the worst case scenario, they actually end up buying one of these counterfeited products. And that results in bad user experience. They won't come back. And it can even be financially and legally challenging for you guys as marketplaces if Gucci decides to take legal action against you selling counterfeited items on your site. And there are numerous examples on how marketplaces have struggled, and e-commerce sites as well have struggled with this and actually been sued by some of the larger brands like Gucci, Prada, Louis Vuitton, etc., etc. So what else did we find? Some stats from this study that I want to share with you guys today. So if we look at the mystery shopping from the beginning, it's on the left hand side here. So almost 10% of the ads when we searched for iPhone 7 had a poor, missing, or catalog image on the product. And 19% of those iPhone 7 ads were actually duplicates on the first page search results. And you guys remember what I talked about irrelevancy before. If everything looks exactly the same on your first search results, that's going to affect your conversion rates down the line tremendously. And from our user search study, our users actually, or the participants actually found that 75% of the users actually found duplicate listings during their searches. And what's really scary to me is the stats around scams. So 50% of them encountered something that they thought was a scam. So think about that as well. Like, they thought it was a scam. It doesn't. Scam should be gone from your site. Should never ever come up. And maybe it wasn't scam, but if your users think it's scam, that's too far already with the content on your site. And on top of that, 75% of the participants said that they would leave if they saw scams. So 50% said that they saw something that they thought was scam, and 75% said that they would leave if they saw a scam. I believe that number comes down to 38% roughly that you might risk losing just for having something that they think is scam on your site. So quality content, even when they match their searches in their search results, is key for you, because it really affects your acquisition, your retention, and your conversion rates. And before I hand over to you, Michal, I want to look at conversion and sort of the last finding from our user search survey, and that was that only when we looked at the description for products, only 20% said that they would buy the product in an ad with poor description, and 73% said that they were unlikely to return to the site at all. Compare that to 56% and 37% for a good listing. Now, this is only in product description. So if you get your description right or wrong, the information around what your product, what your sellers are trying to sell, can affect your conversion rates by, it's 36% difference from 20 to 56%, which is a tremendous performance increase. So now, when I've been sort of the bad cop and tried to highlight the user side of things and how they can experience the negative side of having a bad search experience, let's look at the steps that you guys can take to improve your search, both for your users, but also for you and your conversion.
Okay, so considering the steps, I have divided those into 3 groups with a very important prequel. Those 3 steps are user experience adjustments, then data quality, which was a point which Emil addressed, and relevancy tuning itself. But before you dig into those, you need to start measuring your search, because you cannot optimize something if you cannot really see the details of it. So you really, as a basic ground, you need to start measuring and evaluating what people are using your search for. So you want to start to measure how many no results you are having, and what are the search terms people are using and getting no results. Then you want to dig into your no engagement queries, where people are just no clicks, no engagement. They're leaving your site after seeing the results. There must be something wrong with those, so you must measure and evaluate those. And of course, you want to find out where you're losing conversions, where people are at the beginning, they seem to be engaged, and then they leave without converting. So I cannot stress this more. You need to measure your search, because otherwise, any steps you will try, you will try it blindly. So you must have a good analytics set up to know what's happening with your search. Once you have this, you can go through these steps. Okay, so let's move to the first group of things to do to fix your search or to improve conversions from your search. These are user experience adjustments. These are pretty simple, but there are still many sites where I can see that they have it wrong. The first one is really a basic one. Your search box must be easy to find and easy to use. do not try to hide it behind a magnifying glass which you need to click. You really want your users to spot the search box right away and to use it, because if they know what they're looking for, you don't want them to struggle to, oh, they don't have search function. Oh yes, it's hidden in the top right corner because we are ashamed of the results it's giving. Then, as I was mentioning, that people visiting your site are in different state of mind. Some of them are convinced that they want to buy a product X. Some of them want to find out more information about product X. And to support that, your search should search in anything you have. So search in categories, search in blocks, and provide not only links to products, to listings, to ads, but also do provide links to categories, to your articles supporting the whole process, because this way people might discover, oh, there's a whole category of things I wasn't aware of, and they might go there. Also, if they see that you are providing relevant categories, it might be easier from them to transition from search to navigation. So you can think of search as a dynamic navigation, which allows your users to quickly go to the right section of the web, to the right category or subcategory, and shop there. Okay, and the last point is quite funny. It's quite trendy these days to have infinite scrolling feature on the web. If you have it, just abandon it. Infinite scrolling is really a bad thing. I read a very nice case study from Etsy when they turned on the infinite scrolling feature on their site, and they saw a huge drop in their conversions. And they started to analyze what's going on, why is this so? And it was quite interesting. They found out that with infinite scrolling, people are somehow stuck in that scrolling phase, and they're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and browsing through the products, and they somehow forget to actually click on something and buy something. When you have a traditional next page, people will somehow know that, okay, I'm already on the page number 5, I'm still not seeing what I'm looking for, maybe I should rephrase the query or something like that. With infinite scrolling, this is not the case. They forget that they wanted to buy something. So just get rid of infinite scrolling. So these are small UX adjustments which do not cost a lot, but help a lot. Let's move on to the data quality. Here, the key factor is consistency. You in marketplaces, you have many people filling the descriptions of products, and you must really ensure that those are as consistent as possible. So you should struggle to help your users enter sufficient information to describe their products. The most important field, the most important part of the product description is its title, and it's often misused. People tend to put everything into the title, which makes them super long, super not readable, and you cannot distinguish easily products because of super long titles. So try to nudge your users to fill multiple fields, to put color into the color field, to put size into the size field, to put the brand into the brand field. This way, you will build up a structured content about your product, your listings, which will help a lot your search engine afterwards. And you can then, it's up to you to decide about the visualization. It will be easier to put nice looking templates where you know how to display size, you know how to display color, and you don't need to put everything into title, which makes it useless. Then after the title, the second most important thing is the right categorization of the item. And you want to help your users to do it right. So use autocomplete, use suggesters to help them to find the relevant category where they can list their product. It's really important because afterwards you can benefit from those in relevancy tuning. Okay, I think Emily had some more points about data quality here.
Yeah, exactly. No, you covered consistency and categorization really well, I think. Sorry. So I want to talk a little bit about clear policies and guidelines. And since we work with content moderation, lots of you guys work with content moderation, I hope and believe. And it's pretty well known that you should have clear guidelines and policies for your team. But for many sites struggle with this. But this is really where you need to start. So if you don't have clear policies and guidelines for your moderation team, there's not going to be any consistency from the back end of the content that's approved by your moderation team or from your automation. And on top of that, once you've set that, a lot of marketplaces don't really educate or share these policies and guidelines in a very convenient way with their users. Because if your users, like, think about it, if your users really understands what is good behavior, what is good content, what's allowed, what's not allowed on your site, that would help. And you can use the categorization and the consistency of information that Michal talked about before to help encourage the right descriptions, the right type of content. But if your user don't know what they're supposed to put in and what's required of them to sell on their site, on your site, for example, you're bound to have bad content. You're bound to have more difficult content to moderate, which will be more content for you guys to actually take care of for your moderation team or through automation. So if you manage to share your policies and guidelines with your user base in a very transparent and open way, this is something that both or everyone will benefit from, because you will be able to manage to achieve the content level that you want to achieve, and also this type of community that you want to get. And then my last point is just really about moderation and curation processes. And here, like, just to sum it all up, like, you need to have these processes in place in order to get the consistency, like I mentioned, right throughout. Because if someone tries to sell their car and he or she fills in all the contents needed, and for some reason gets rejected because of a price issue or whatever, that might be a warning for might be flagged as scam. But his friend is having exactly the same thing, but that goes through. If you don't have the processes in place to be able to support your policies and guidelines, you're going to have inconsistency in your moderation, which is going to result in inconsistent quality of content, but also in inconsistent decisions for your users. And there's so many ways that you can set up your moderation processes. I won't go in too much into detail on what you guys can do, but feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to talk about your moderation processes at any point. But we can move on to the, I believe, last slide before questions, right? So keep sending your questions in, guys.
Yes, last but not least, it's quite important. Okay, let's say you have the user experience right, you have the data quality fixed. Then comes the actual relevancy tuning, where you must somehow turn your search engine into that super piece of algorithm which shows the relevant content. So the first rule is that less is more. It's always better to show like 5 super relevant products than to show 242 pages of everything which somehow matches the query, and most of the time people are just not interested into it. They want to see those 5 products. So if you can tune up your algorithm that it returns those 5 products, please do it. People will love you if you don't give them 242 pages but like super relevant top products. But most of the time you will return more than 5 products, so you must focus on ordering of those products. And here the basic point is that full text score, which is something which a basic search engine like Elasticsearch, for example, will give you, like how well the search terms matches the documents. These are not enough. The ordering will not be what your users want to see. So you must incorporate user behavior and implicit feedback into consideration. You want to play with popularity of the item, popularity of the product, popularity of the seller. You want to incorporate all these into game to have the right ordering of the products. Third one, try to understand the intent of the user. For example, if a user searches for red shoes, try to activate automatically the filters like color should be red and category should be shoes. So you won't find products which are like red shoelaces, for example. So you really want to extract the knowledge from the search terms. You want to turn on the filters automatically if possible. So that's the query understanding. And the last point, even if you do all these, you won't be able to avoid manual intervention to your product listings. Maybe because words your sellers are using maybe are not exactly the same words your buyers are using. So if you want to align those two, you will need to use synonyms. Maybe you will sometimes need to use some custom keywords to add more descriptions to the products which are already listed. And the last part, I saw that many of our clients were requesting a feature called boosting. So sometimes you want to promote some products, you want to help some products to try to be higher in the result list, to promote new products or to promote some special products of your interest. But be really careful with this, because it's quite often that what you want to sell might not be in line with what your buyers want to buy. So if your gap between those two is too wide, you will lose your audience. So boosting should be part of your inventory of items, of categories, and so on, but try to use it less, not more. Okay, so this was my last point.
That's super. So why don't we reveal the results of the poll that we did in the beginning?
Okay, go ahead.
I hope you guys can see it now. Michal, please share some comments on this.
Okay, I'm quite happy that only 20% of you said I don't know. So and those 20% just do something with it. And the majority is 40% plus, which is really nice. It's above average, I would say. Usually it depends really on it really depends on the sector on which you are focused. But 40% plus is quite rare to see. Usually it's between 20-40, somewhere there, but 40% plus, it's really nice. So if you will work with your search, these will help you to raise your conversions, I'm sure.
Exciting to see. Let's jump out of the results. There we go, and go to the last slide, which is questions. So one last time, guys, please send in any questions that you might have for me or for Michal about search experience, about conversion issues you might have. Just shoot them. Let's jump into our first question for you, Michal. It's what are the primary KPIs showing me the quality of my search solution?
Okay, so the most basic one is conversion rate, but there are many other which are quite interesting. For example, you can measure or you can evaluate the average position of clicked item. If it's too high, that means that your ordering is not good because people must scroll down to find the item which they want to click. Then another interesting one is exit rate. So you want to measure how many times search results were the last thing people saw right before leaving your web. So you want to have as low exit rate as possible, of course. So you can measure query reformulations, how many times people needed to reformulate or reiterate their search intent. So I would say these four are the most basic one: conversion rates, exit rates, average click position, and number of reformulations. So you can watch those 4 and see if you are going on the right track and your search is getting better or worse.
Super. I hope that answered your question. We have a pretty long one here, so I'll read it out, then we'll see if it's for me or for you, Michal.
Okay.
But last time I interviewed my user, he said he liked accurate results, but he preferred long results. He accepted the irrelevant results as reference, then short but accurate results. In this case, should I still try to improve search results to show more accurate results? Not entirely sure if I understand what you're asking here. So the long results, if you're referring to long headline that Michal talked about,
or maybe like a long list of results. Long list of results is okay only in one segment. That's fashion. In fashion, people want to browse through, I don't know, I'm looking for a t-shirt or shirt, and I'm openly willing to browse through a ton of material. Otherwise, it's not working. Otherwise, when I'm looking for something, I want to see the relevant results. Fashion, from my experience, fashion is the only difference, only exception.
So I would guess like the final recommendation for hopefully answering is that you should always listen to what your users want and what they want. But if it's only one user, it may not be quantifiable at that level. So do some user research and see if it works or not for many users, and play around with testing as well. Because it may be unique for one specific user, but it may not work for the rest. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, from my point of view, you need to measure. It's always better to measure the behavior than to ask people about their opinions, because when you're asking them, they can tell something to look good, but if you are watching how they are behaving, they are not lying there, because it's their behavior, they are not lying. So try to rely more on what you're measuring than maybe what you're hearing from them. If you ask a lot of users, then you will get the right answers, but if you ask only 1 or 2, it can be quite distorted.
Yeah, good point. Measure, right?
Yes.
So I see that we're way past the time. Exciting to see that we still have you guys on. Let's round things off with one final question. So Michal, for you, who within the company should be responsible for search optimization? Should I give it to the IT team or marketing team? Who is the product owner of the search feature? So multiple questions in one.
Oh, okay. I would say that surprisingly, I wouldn't say that it's the IT team. They can do it, but they don't know what to do. So from my perspective, it should be a product team. So people who are responsible for product listings, like product managers, they know what they are selling. They know the features of it. They should take care of search from the product ownership channel. So product department.
Yeah, and what I would add to that is just like anyone who's developing the user experience on your site as well should be involved in this, but product should mainly own the actual tool in order to get the performance needed. But super, that's the final question for today. So I am super happy to have you participating, Michal. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. It was a nice experience. Pleasure to meet you online.
Yeah, it was super fun having you, and thank you to all of you guys calling in. I hope this webinar has been very helpful. Keep an eye out for that checklist in the inbox that will come from Michal and his team in later today. So wherever you are in time zone wise, stay up for a few more hours. Great, thank you guys.
Okay,
bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.